Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning. Salute to my freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorillas in the building, hitting y'all upside the head with this morning paper. I'm late than a big dog. Man, I was dropping my kids off, and I missed the exit. And now my kids go to school in they go to a STEM school, kind of like in a very rural area. And I missed the exit. It's a whole big old story. Anyway, hitting y'all upside the head with this morning paper. I see that Derek C. Williams was in the building early, as well as Marcy T. Salute to y'all. I'm sorry I missed you guys if you're not in the building any longer, but we're gonna roll right into this story and get it cracking. Realize is in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Good morning to you. Good morning. Today was a crazy day, trying to get my kids dropped off at school, and of course, obviously that limits my time before I can. I gotta hop off and get to work, but it is what it is. I'm gonna get it in. So, wow. Anyway, there a lot of interesting things coming out. A lot of interesting things coming out in regards to YouTube and censorship. Okay. Now, they really started ramping up the censorship when I started doing YouTube around 2008, 2019, right before the pandemic was beginning. Okay. And obviously when the Modelo 19 started, they were very, very YouTube, and not just YouTube, but other social media platforms, Facebook and all these different things. Anyway, they were starting to ramp up the censorship in regards to medical misinformation, this, that, and the third. You couldn't talk about the mask. You couldn't talk about the vaccines. You couldn't say anything, about COVID-19. If you spoke out or against the narrative of COVID-19, they was on your ass big time. They were on your ass big time. Now understand, this was during the Biden administration. This started during the Trump administration. Okay, we have to remember that. We have to remember that the censorship started heavy during the COVID-19, which was during Trump administration, right? That's where it started. Now, of course, it ramped up during the Biden administration, and the pandemic was kind of dwindling down. It wasn't as it was starting to end, basically, right? All the shutdowns, the lockdowns, people were starting to go back to work, right? We discovered that the COVID-19 was evolving, and it was becoming endemic, and it wasn't really that big of a deal no more. Well, did the censorship dwindle down? No, it did not. They kept the censorship going, and a lot of people lost their channels because of this, right? Because they spoke out, they spoke against, and then certain other individuals, they just stopped talking about COVID-19. They stopped questioning the narrative. They stopped doing all that. They just kind of changed shit around. And like I said, they really ended a lot of channels that had a lot going for them. They started to grow. They started to reach a lot of people. And YouTube said, you know what? I'm not going to keep telling you not to talk about this goddamn COVID-19 in that way. Got rid of a lot of channels. Derek C. Williams, who is a moderator in my chat right now, was one of those very people. And while I was talking about COVID-19, I was using code words and trying to be slick and all this other shit. and I had multiple strikes, right? I got multiple strikes on my channel, but you know, I was able to maneuver and find a way to kind of like talk about it without getting caught up. You know what I'm saying? Without getting caught up by the moderators, the YouTube moderators, and all that kind of navigate these channels to find out what people are talking about. With Derek C. Williams, he didn't do that. He said, you know what? I ain't doing no damn code words. I'm gonna talk about it straight up. And he ended up losing his channel for it. Well, during the Biden administration, there were a lot of things going on surrounding. There were hearings with Mark Zuckerberg and all these different, social media giant owners and all that stuff, where it was coming out that the government was paying YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They were paying all these people. They were getting government funding to censor people for what they call misinformation, right? They, Facebook, I don't know if you guys remember, they hired all these fact checkers. They hired all these fact checkers to come out. And if you posted something about COVID that they didn't like, they had these fact checkers put banners on your shit to kind of, well, this is what's really going on with COVID-19. This is what's really going on with the vaccination. This is what's really going on with this and the third. And they would also take your shit down. They'll put you in Facebook jail. YouTube just straight up gave you strikes. If you got 3 strikes, they took your channel. And it was coming out. Elon Musk bought Twitter. They started releasing these files showing that the government was paying these social media giants to censor people, right? And to uplift and put people at the forefront that was going with the government narrative, right? This is what happened. Now, there's a lot more information that has to come out. There's a lot more digging that needs to be done. I'm bringing this to y'all attention so that you guys have an understanding. I'm warming you guys up for when we bring the hard line facts, because it's not just the Biden administration. If you guys are familiar with Operation Mockingbird, then you know that this is just an evolution of Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird was about controlling the flow of information from through social media to the people. That is what Operation Mockingbird was about. Or something like that. But do you think that they really did that? Because it was a CIA project. It was a CIA operation. And obviously it was about dictating and controlling the flow of information through the mainstream media, because that's how a lot of people were getting information about current events, about what's going on in the world and all that other shit. If they wanted you to know certain shit, if they wanted to manipulate the information, they could do so through through mainstream, before the internet, before social media, before these different platforms we have access to now. Well, all they have done is they have continued along that vein into social media. Well, now it's much more difficult because there are people, well, they're not mainstream, right? They are grassroots. They are independent content creators that do their own research, that fact check, that may have sources, they may get access to whistleblowers. They are now coming out, right? And they are putting information out as well to combat what the media is telling you, to say, look, this is a different angle about what information is being given to you. Look, don't just look at the mainstream media information. Look at the information we have as well. We have sources. We have whistleblowers. We have done this research. We have done the fact checking. Look what we have to present. Well, guess what? They couldn't have that with the COVID-19. No. They had to say, you know what? We're going to call this disinformation given to you by conspiracy theorists, and we're going to have YouTube shut you down. We're going to have Facebook shut you down. We're going to have Instagram shut you down. Well, guess what? That in and of itself was considered a conspiracy theory. If you believed that the government had anything to do with the censorship of independent content creators on these platforms, you were considered a conspiracy theorist. And guess what? You were a conspiracy theorist. You were. But see, they try to make it a bad word. If you get called a conspiracy theorist, it's a bad word. It means you're a loony bin. You're a loony man. You're a nut basket. Yeah, you're crazy if you have these things and ideas in your mind. If you question the government, if you question the official narrative. Well, guess what, y'all? It's now conspiracy fact. We can call it conspiracy fact now. Because guess what? There was a fund for this where they were paying social media platforms, including YouTube, to censor people. And now YouTube is saying, well, that's what they did now. Guess what? We're reversing all that, right? Yeah, we were getting paid by the government. We were being incentivized by the government to shut down opposing voices, to shut down people that questioned the narrative, that brought different information, that did their own fact checking and own research and said, look, here's a different angle. I was one of those individuals. I was one of those people who brought the different information in regards to COVID-19, in regards to whether or not the mask worked, whether or not the injections from the vaccines worked. Yeah, I was one of those people. I did fact checking. I brought information that showed the actual amount of deaths that occurred directly from COVID-19 versus what they attributed to COVID-19 simply because you had COVID-19 when you died. I was one of those individuals that brought this information, and even during the Biden administration, after the shutdowns were over, after COVID-19 became endemic amongst the population, they removed dozens of my live streams. Dozens. Over a period of time. They didn't give me any strikes. They didn't take my channel down. They just said, look, we found this video, it had medical misinformation. We removed it. They did that to dozens of my live streams. All this work I had done during COVID-19. I'm like, man, that's crazy as hell. Just remove them, right? I'm talking about live streams 1 to 2 years old. They go back 1 or 2 years. It's 2023, 2024. And they're removing video from 2020. They're removing videos from 2021. They were, my little channel. I had over 1,000 subscribers. And they had already been shadow banning me during COVID-19 when I was bringing this information. So, well, guess what? Now they're finally admitting that the government did indeed pay them to censor people. Yes. And guess what? That fund dried up. And now YouTube was like, look at here now, this is what happened. And now, apparently, again, I have to get more information about this. We're gonna bring you more of that information. Salute to Eric Jordan in the building. Salute to you. I'm gonna Don't worry, I'm gonna shout you guys out when I park. We're gonna bring you more of this information. So, yeah, it dried up. It was a conspiracy fact. Conspiracy fact. They conspired, the government conspired with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to censor people that did not go along with the mainstream narrative about COVID-19. And it bled into other topics as well. But more specifically, COVID-19. More specifically that. Because they wanted to push this thing amongst the people. They wanted people to adopt this idea that COVID-19 was going to be the most devastating disease on earth, and it was going to take out millions and millions of people, and that you had to allow them, you had to allow them to force these vaccinations onto you. You had to allow them to force you to wear these masks, right? You had to allow them to force you, right, to quarantine, not to go to you're going to kill your grandparents. You're going to kill this person and that person if you don't follow these rules, right? All in the name of public safety and public health. You know, they used the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act to do these things in order to put y'all in y'all place. Yeah, you'll have 6 feet of separation. You'll wear a face mask outside. You'll wear a face mask around people, even though they didn't work, right? The mask they said you could wear, those little painter's masks, the little cloth masks that don't stop bad breath from coming. Listen, if you can smell somebody's bad breath through that damn mask, you're not stopping a virus from coming through. You understand? Of course, they're trying to convince you, yeah, viruses just flying out of your mouth all day. And viruses are flying around in the air from people's mouths. And so the best way to stop it, hey, look, wear this painter's mask, cut a sleeve and just put it over your face. Use a neck gaiter. I mean, you could use anything. What's the point? Oh, an N95 mask. Well, N95 masks were created for tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a bacteria. Viruses are smaller than so what are we talking about? But this is what they're telling you. And if you use that level of common sense, if you say, man, you can smell people's breath through these masks, how is it going to stop a virus? And they shut you down. They shut you down. So guess what I had to say? I had to say face flag. Face flag. To get them off my back. But obviously, again, YouTube was censoring people, not because they believed the mainstream narrative and they thought that we were spreading dangerous misinformation. No, it was because the government paid them to shut us down. The government paid them to censor us. So what does that mean? That means that YouTube was subsidized, right? They were subsidized by the government to go on this censorship campaign. And what that also means by extension is that we the people, were paying the government. No, through the government, we were paying YouTube to censor us. They used our money to violate our rights to free speech. That's exactly what these platforms did. If a corporation receives government subsidies, that means that we're paying these corporations. We're paying these corporations, right? What does that mean? That means that they are corporate welfare recipients. That's what I call them. Corporate welfare recipients. And all they got to do is perform a little censorship here, take down a channel there, shadow ban this guy, shadow ban that gal, shadow ban this. That's all they got to do. Yeah, take them out of the algorithm. We won't recommend them. And when they say vaccine, or when they say COVID-19, and they don't speak favorably about the narrative about these things, we're going to give them a strike. We're going to take their channel down for 7 days for the first time, 2 weeks the second time, and the third time, they're gone. They're out of here. We paid these platforms to do this because the government is getting the money from us to pay these corporations to do this. For censorship. Christy, good morning to you. Yeah, mandatory vaccination or get fired. That's a whole nother facet of this thing. Jimmy Hayes, salute to you. Benito 2.0, salute. Rachel, salute to you. Good morning. Shelton, good morning to you. Yeah, they banned the freaking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember those 2 doctors. There were 2 doctors at the beginning. These 2 doctors from California that were talking about how California, well, the virus was already in California 2 or 3 months before, right back in November. They're saying at least since November 19, the virus had come to California and had spread amongst hundreds of thousands of people to millions of people by the time they announced the virus was in America in February or in January, when they started to really talk about, declaring a pandemic, and that a lot of people had already had the virus. Yet they got shut down. They got shut down. Salute to Eric Jordan. Realizing the building, Brother Shelton, salute to you. Like I said, Derry C. Williams was in here. He said, of course he had funding. Imagine my shot. Derry C. Williams and Alex Jones got their main channels back. I see that you taking off like a rocket. Salute to K-Bear. I appreciate you, Derry C. Williams. He then says, now the question is that AdSense revenue lost over almost 5 years. Show Derek the money. Yeah, that's a great question, bro. That's a great question. Even what about the growth that people could have had from that time, that all of a sudden, oh, look now I have the growth. Now my channel is growing. Now they're allowing me to reach people. All of a sudden. I've been doing this since 2020. Since 2018, 2019. Now my channel is growing. Now I'm in the algorithm. Now I'm being recommended. Now this, now that. It took 5 years for me to get monetized. I was at 1,000 subscribers for over 3 or 4 years. Yes, truth over everything. Yeah, we had it. Listen, I had it in December, November of 2019. I was so sick. I was like, what kind of flu is this? I thought I had the flu. I was sick for like 3-4 weeks. I mean, I got over it. It is what it is. Salute to Crash Runner. But think about it. Sure, I'm a dim. Sure. JGC, Chatai, whatever you hell, yeah. I'm a Democrat. Why not? Let's go with that. You people are hilarious. William Wallace says, well, YouTube blocked me for 3 years having an opinion. Yeah, they'll do that. So now, okay, they're stopping. They're giving people their channels back. back a few months ago. Mark Zuckerberg, he said we're not going to be censoring people. He got rid of the fact checkers. He said you can say what you want. Do it. Why? Elon Musk bought Twitter and named it X, and then they pick and choose when they want to censor, right? They pick and choose who can be racist and who can't. Eric Jordan said he had COVID for 2 days and knocked it out. So now y'all notice I'm saying COVID, I'm saying vaccine, all these other things. We'll see if my channel gets knocked down for this. We'll see if I get a strike. We're going to see if YouTube really about that life. Which I probably won't. I mean, COVID, it's not really, it's a nothing burger now. People ain't really tripping over COVID. Somebody says dumb. Sure, fucko the clown. Makes sense that your name is fucko the clown. It makes sense. You better not be a trumpet MAGA traitor. Robert Wingate, don't worry about what I am. What are you gonna do? What if I was a trumper? What you gonna do about it? Not a motherfucking thing. But no, I'm not a trumpet. I'm not a MAGA person. Fucko the clown says he voted for Trump. Good for you. You have submitted. You have given your consent to be governed. Congratulations. Salute to Frost from Australia. Leo Calhoun said he was sick in 2019 of December as a dog. I remember I was me in the truck with the heat on blast. I sweated in and out. Yeah, I was working too. I was working. I was I was a general foreman and / superintendent, and I had to visit all these job sites every day. And man, it took a lot out of me just to drive to the different job sites. Lord the Bear says COVID only killed 1 million Americans. Where did you get that number? COVID did not kill 1 million people in America. That's not even true. That's not true at all. There's no truth to that. That's not true. Eric Jordan says I'm an independent and I vote on policy and what would make me the most money. I hear you, Eric Jordan, but yeah, I don't vote. Shane Ryan says this brother needs help. Okay, help me out. Why don't you start? Give me some help. Robert Wingate. Yeah. Congratulations, bro. Congratulations. You really think you did something there. Anyway. Yeah, both parties sold you out. Listen, let me tell you something. Two wings, same bird, right? The left or right, it's the same shit, right? They come from the same place. They just present you. They present it to you as though they're different, but they both belong to the same system, right? They both belong to the same system. Even the independents, because guess what? The independents in Congress, they don't have any power, right? They got to go with what works best for them. So when it comes down to it, the independents in Congress, they're more than likely going to vote Democrat. So independents are really just Democrats that pretend like they're moderates. That's all they're doing. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to vote Democrat. They're going to be in the Democratic caucus. That's what they're going to do. Stormy B Man in the building. Salute to you, bro. He says there's far than 1 million morons in America for sure. They rise early and come to online only to be fuckos. Facts, Stormy B Man. Great play on words, brother. Yeah, Lucas. Lucas says in the whole bird analogy, Israel must be the bird's head in the middle. Well, that's what it looks like, right? It looks like Benjamin Nosferatu is the president of the United States. That's what it looks like, because he gets his way. And there's a lot of interesting things coming out about that, by the way. I'm going to be talking about tomorrow how they have cut off the western, the western border. They have cut that off from Jordan, and they're not allowing Palestinians or Gazans to leave from the West Bank into Jordan, because a couple countries recognize the Palestinian state. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. And obviously, that's a war crime, right? You're not letting civilians leave the war zone. You're not allowing the refugees to escape. But, they're going to do what they want, right? It is what it is. Jason Gustafson says there is a left and the right. Jesus is in the middle, and he is who are to trust and believe in. Okay. When you truly understand who runs the world, it all makes sense. Well, there are a number of people who run the world. There are a number of world leaders that get together and they make certain decisions. And if you understand that whole framework, then you know who really pulls the strings, right? The World Economic Forum and all these different NGOs, right? These NGOs that have these summits and they talk about, well, how are we going to do this? And they talk about the New World Order, and they say things like, you'll own nothing and be happy. The NGOs that really have the power, think about it like this. The corporations in the United States that form special interest groups and lobby in Congress to our so-called representatives, right? They do it that way in the United States on a small scale, but on a world scale, you have the George Soroses, you got all these guys from the World Economic Forum and all these different NGOs that do the same thing on the global scale, right? That's why they bitch and complain about global warming and then fly in their little private jets to these summits every year, right? And they act like they have the best interest of the world at heart. And they talk about how this economic world order and all these different things that they are working toward. So you have to look. Sometimes you got to look beyond the government and look into these non-governmental organizations that really, they are the power brokers, right? That wheel and deal. They wheel and deal amongst the world leaders, right? They get their way, but they step back. They trigger certain things. They make sure certain things happen, and they step back, and no one looks at them, right? Like these wars we have. These wars we have. These people all talk. They all get together. They all have these conversations. Sir Drum says Burger King is hiring. Congratulations. Why don't you go fill out the application? Good for you. I hope you get that promotion. Anyway, y'all, Leo Calhoun says, before social media, we didn't know how dumb America was, but now thanks to SM, we don't know, we don't have to wonder anymore. We get to see it live every day. I appreciate you, Leo Calhoun. Salute to you as well. Good for you that Burger King is hiring. You let me know that so that you can go. Go ahead. You don't have to stay here. You can go fill out the application. It's okay. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to run off of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Got to get to work. A lot of people would rather complain about politics than participate. Our republic is designed where we all tell them what to do. Instead, they stand on a soapbox and tell us what to think. Who is they? You said our republic is designed where we tell them what to do. When have you told any politician what to do? The wheelman. When have you given any politician any order or instruction that they have to follow? When have you ever been able to call your local representative or your representative on the phone and chat to them and tell them what they're supposed to do? When have you been able to do that? When have you done that? I'm confused. There goes another clown ass wishing I was gay because he's gay. Listen, y'all. Have your feelings about whatever you have your feelings about. But yeah. I know y'all want me to be gay because y'all gay and y'all are attracted to me. But that's not how this works, right? It ain't how it works. Go be gay and find somebody that's gay along with you. And then y'all can go get anal prolapse together. I'm not rolling with that. But yeah, I get why you're doing that. Lucas says the law has been repealed since, but the discrimination of drugs made a huge impact on the community. That's facts. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the NGOs definitely help write the legislation. Do you guys know? I always talk about this. But you can propose legislation yourself. You can, yeah, anybody can propose legislation. The president does it. A lot of these organizations do it. You propose legislation, and then they get it drafted up, and then they can present it to the floor of the House or in the Senate. Yeah. But when was the last time you guys proposed any legislation to any politician? Try it out. See if they don't tear it up and throw it in the trash. Because unless you bring in that paper with it, unless they see something down the road where they can greatly benefit, you're not going to get your legislation introduced anywhere. You can do it. Anybody can propose legislation. It doesn't have to be a politician. But these corporations, these special interest groups, someone says, bro, Trump is the president. So what? So what? The president could present and propose legislation that he wants. It still has to go through the House and the Senate, but he can say, hey, why don't you do this? He can tell a Republican senator or a Republican congressman, this is what I want. Make it happen. See if you can get this passed. Well, you don't know that? Oh, okay. Oh, bro, he thought he ate when he said, bro, Trump is a president. Oh, you're talking about the censorship. Yeah, Donald Trump ain't exempt from that. Of course he's trying to censor people. Of course. He is part of the government. This is what the government does. Yeah, he's trying to censor people in a different direction. Well, yeah, of course Isaiah Porter is hard to draft, but they can do it if you pay them enough money. If you give them it, yeah, that's why these people lobby. They know what it takes. It's not just going to take donations, right? Yeah, you can donate. It's not a guarantee that you'll get what you want. But if they see a benefit down the road, if they see kickbacks, I already know that. You need at least $50,000. But that's not the limit. I forgot exactly what the limit is. I think it's a few $100,000 or something like that per person. But it's not just the cash. It's also, okay, if I draft this legislation, what can I benefit from down the road when I stop being, can I come join your board? Can I get a job? Can I get this? Can I get that? These representatives, they can get benefit as well. Not just from the donation, but yeah. And guess what? A lot of some of these senators and Congress people, they get done with their job, and then guess what? They become lobbyists themselves. They get to become lobbyists. You see what I'm saying? It's a conflict of interest. Anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. I just wanted to bring you guys that information real quick, let y'all know what's going on. We're gonna dig deeper into this and see how far they're willing to go to restore people whose channels they have, eradicated in the name of censorship. So we're gonna do a little bit of digging, and we're gonna bring it to you guys, okay? Mr. Freeze, I don't know why you're telling me this. You don't have the freedom of consequence for your speech. So what? What does that have to do with anything? This is something I tell you guys. What are you talking about? Y'all really think y'all be eating making these statements? Yeah, Alex Jones got his channel back. I mean, listen. If you don't like what Alex Jones has to say, you just don't have to watch him. You don't have to listen. Listen, censorship, self-censorship is a thing. If there are certain things you don't want to hear, you simply just don't turn it on. If there are certain things you feel like you shouldn't say, you simply don't say it. There's nothing wrong with self-censorship. Nothing wrong with it at all. See, but it's up to the people consuming the information to have discernment. Have discernment. You know what I'm saying? If you think the source is trustworthy, okay, cool. You can roll with that. But if you think there's something that don't sound right, you can always go do some fact checking. You can always do your own research, and you can come back to that content creator or the person and say, look, man, this is what I found out. This is what I discovered. What do you think about that? People have done it to me. I'm like, I got to look into that. I didn't hear about that. Let me go check that out. Or if I think that, if I don't, believe it, it is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Hopefully, cats like Derek C. Williams can have their channels fully restored, have all their subscribers back and all that good shit, and be made whole, because they really went hard on the censorship, y'all. And, people tried to make it look like we was crazy for pointing it out, for letting y'all know this is pure D censorship, right? And the government is using these platforms to censor, to avoid the whole First Amendment thing. Yeah, they're going through private organizations to do so. But guess what? If you're paying these government organizations to act on your behalf, then you are violating free speech through these private organizations using taxpayer money. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Have a great day. You guys stay safe out there. Stay fit. Make sure you guys are getting out there. You're moving. You're not getting stagnant. Make sure you're training up. Make sure you're informed and all that good stuff. So anyway, much love. Like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.